Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jeffrey Watt. Thank you for joining us on day one of our 4-day lecture series. Today will be discussion led by 3 of the 5 founding members of the Design Research Group Forum 5, Sean Bosworth, Nathan Lin, and myself. In the days to follow, we will be introducing additional members of Forum 5 to further discuss the Gaming City project. Today's lecture will regard the concept and thesis statement of the Gaming City, a project conducted in collaboration with the research group nonames. The Gaming City, in one way of understanding it as it sounds, a city of and for gaming, and in another, it strives to embody qualities that will provide a platform for a new social experience manifested through the culture surrounding contemporary gaming and technology. As a physical space, the Gaming City is a fully functional, multifaceted experience that merges the physical reality with the virtual to create an entirely new augmented reality experience. As a theological concept, the city would serve as ground zero for an entirely new human social experience that incorporates some of the most important cultural trends of today, yet remain elastic to trends of the future. The Gaming City is ultimately a manifestation of a community's yearning for the next evolutionary step in a digital gaming experience by providing a designed physical venue space that will push the boundaries of what we know as gaming in the 21st century, all the while boosting the gaming culture and its industries.
In the theoretical approach to presenting this project, we must first discuss the understanding of space and the exploration of what defines separation of spatial typologies. Our conceptualization of the project began with the fundamental questioning of what reality is. Exploration into an effort to understand spatial states is what drove this project forward. In 1962, French director Jean-Luc Godard created a film called Les Carabiniers. Godard used this film as, in one facet as a critique on the simultaneity of spatial states. In one scene, we see the main protagonist, Michelangelo, viewing a film in a cinema for his first time. Michelangelo watches the film of a woman undressing and bathing, thinking that the screen is an extension of the room he is in. Godard intentionally framed these shots with no peripheral context in order to allude to this interaction between Michelangelo and the woman on the screen, or rather, the interaction of their spaces. After the exchange, Michelangelo walks up to the screen. He imagines that as he approaches, he will be able to see into the tub or caress the woman, who repeatedly looks into the camera as if to acknowledge his advancement. He finally attempts to climb into the tub, only to tear and fall through the projection screen. Godard's framing of this scene excellently diagrams an essay that followed the film in 1967. Other Spaces, Heterotopias and Utopias by Michael Foucault further analyzes Godard's assertion on the simultaneity of spaces. In a more easily digestible manner, we can break it down into 3 types of spaces: real, represented, and ideated spaces, and how their intersections create what we refer to with the affix topia. The writing makes these assertions. Real space is where we live. It's where we move. It's where we physically interact. It's concrete, unwavering. This is represented by the head in the foreground. Represented space is what we project, create, or augment, a representation of a thing, place, or idea that is manifested in real space. This is shown by the woman on the screen. The light is real, the screen is real, but it's a representation. Ideated space is what we imagine the represented to be, the preconception of how it feels to inhabit the representation. Michelangelo has a preconception of the space he sees on the screen. He believes a space beyond exists, and he attempts to occupy it. These spaces intersect to create new philosophical realms. Where the ideated space and representational space intersect, exists what we know as the utopia. Utopias are the unrealized ideal, a representation of a thing that does not exist. Michelangelo realizes that his preconception is incorrect. The tub is not a tub, and there is no inside of it. His thoughts become a lingering utopia as he falls through the veil. At the junction of all 3 spatial typologies, we can find the heterotopia. This is a space where an idea is represented and existent, but uninhabited by the perceiver. It is a real space viewed only from the outside. Though the moment we enter, the illusion is dissolved, and it no longer is a heterotopia. Michelangelo realizes after his fall that this is a space he cannot enter. It exists at the intersection of the real, represented, and ideated spaces, and is a heterotopic space. In Michelangelo's case, entering a heterotopia would mean being with the woman in the bath, placing him in a new real place. Flashing forward into 1982, we see this philosophy recontextualized in the film Tron. In the scene you see now, the protagonist, Kevin Flynn, is downloaded into a digital platform referred to as the Grid. In the Grid, Flynn can experience every sense as though he is in true reality, and in fact, he is in a real space. Although in this space, programs take the likeness of their human creators. It is a mixed reality, including real and represented space. At the time, this mixture of spatial typologies was new and undefined. Its conception led to the republication of Foucault's Other Spaces 2 years later as a way of ushering in the new era of topias. We are again at a cusp of spatial mixtures, one where we are redefining the interface of the spaces we inhabit and experience. With the emergence of augmented reality, we are getting ever closer to fully integrating the digital and the real. With our thesis, we seek to define this new kind of space within the architectural realm, to intertwine our senses and perceptions that ground us in limited reality with digital augmentation. We want to create a space that is limitless, a new topia. Being on the verge of defining a new era of virtual augmentation allows us to envision what society and technological integration will be like in the future. Media in the past have often portrayed technology's integration into society with a dystopian outlook. We believe it is our responsibility to design a future that distances us from these negative portrayals of future societies. With the development and ideation of the gaming city, we want to define an architecturally designed landscape that harmoniously integrates the digital with the physical.
As you all may have noticed, we're currently living in a pandemic and have been social distancing and living in quarantine for the last several months now. Many social functions and interactions have been shut down and forced to move to the virtual realm. For example, this presentation we're having. As the current social climate created by the pandemic continues to force us into social isolation, the creative spaces in which society has been functioning has been predominantly through the virtual medium. As we have seen across the multitude of media platforms, people are struggling to adapt to the situation created by the pandemic. Whether it be businesses, education, or social functions, it is evident that the virtual interaction does not hold the same quality and significance as in-person interaction. This may be a temporary solution until the day we no longer need to socially distance ourselves. However, utilizing the virtual realm as a sole primary method in which we conduct ourselves cannot become the new reality. Humans are social beings, as first described by Aristotle. He states, "Man is by nature a social animal. An individual who is unsocial naturally and not accidentally is either beneath our notice or more than human. Society is something that precedes the individual." According to Aristotle, humans have an innate principle to prioritize society and social interactions. In this time of social distancing, people have begun to find themselves having difficulty adjusting to the length of time spent isolated. It is evident that the world we live in is shifting the perceptions of normalcy now. Society has shifted into a virtual space quicker than anticipated, and we have businesses and corporations trying to catch up. Social interaction still remains important, as media platforms are rushing to capitalize on this need, which has proven to us that humans indeed are social beings. We see people having video conferencing calls not just for businesses, but for social interaction. For example, hanging out with friends, play board games over the internet, and even watching movies together. Yes, these technologies have helped progress society further than ever before, but we desire the harmonious integration of the digital landscape with the physical world. Our project takes into consideration the need for human socialization and envisions the future of social gaming in a digital landscape on a physical level.
So how do we incorporate these two separate states of space into a single integrated experience? What senses are engaged? And how does the 21st century technology and society assist in defining this new frontier? With these questions providing the basis of design, our concept of the gaming city emerges to meld the physical and digital landscape, offering advanced ways of discovering what we as humans can experience and sense. Implementing a seamless transition of augmented projections onto a physical fabric that one can touch, observe, and smell. Through the development of technological breakthroughs, our intended course is to change the gaming culture, provide new modes of entertainment, challenge physical conditions, and meet the need for social interaction. With these principles, we envision a space that through architectural means can be a defining point in which future establishments relate back to. A landscape that seamlessly engages the physical senses in direct relation to the digital realm. The gaming city concept takes form in the landscape titled Civitas Aeternum, the Eternal City, a new fabric of reality that no longer is bound to the traditional understanding of the limitations of the physical space. A city that allows you to interact with each other physically and digitally, allowing for a network to develop beyond the physical realm. Our concept and vision would allow for a multitude of similar realities to appear worldwide digitally, woven together to form this new landscape. The manifestation of these woven different realities allows the people to interact with physical conditions and experience other cultures and interact with individuals thousands of miles away in one single location. Rem Aeternum, the reality that we are presenting over the next several days, marks the genesis of the project, therefore acting as the foundation and the proof of concept. Rem Aeternum is our initial focus, the nexus of the Eternal City, and developing the whole Gaming City project. Over the next several days, we will begin to break down the logic and reasoning why we decided to develop the concept the way we did. Today was just an introduction to the theoretical background and concept development as a whole. Day 2, we will be discussing on how research and data allowed for the project to be realized. Day 3 is when we will begin to be revealing the conceptual designs for the Gaming City. Here, we will be giving greater insight into how we envision the symbiosis of the digital realm and the physical landscape. And finally, Day 4 will be a conclusion of the entire project. On behalf of Forum 5 and No Names, thank you.